52 Traders, episode 40.
It's pretty easy to see, it's going up here. If I bought, I would make money. Oh, look, it's now going down, and it's going down pretty strongly. If I sell here, I'll make money. I don't need indicators. I don't need a course. I don't need anybody. A 10-year-old kid can see that.
Over the next year, your host, Cam Hawkins, gets inside the minds of 52 of the world's best traders to find out if he has what it takes to become one of them. Join Cam every week on the 52 Traders podcast or at 52traders.com to learn how to trade like the pros. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not investment, trading, or financial advice of any kind. Trading is very risky and could lose you all of your capital. Any comments about historical performance are not an indication of future results.
Before we kick things off, remember to register for my free webinar where you can watch me turn simple trading strategies like the ones you hear on the show into fully automatic MetaTrader 4 expert advisors, all in less than 45 minutes, and you get to keep whatever I create. You can register today at automatemytrading.com. What's up, traders? Welcome to another weekly installment of the 52 Traders podcast, and today we're lucky enough to have Al Brooks on the show. Now, Al is a doctor come professional trader, author and lecturer, and he's been a professional trader since leaving the medical profession 26 years ago. Also a technical analyst contributor to Futures Magazine, where they coined him the Trader's Trader. Al provides live market commentary and daily analysis updates at brookspriceaction.com. Welcome, Al, and thanks for joining me here on the 52 Traders podcast this week.
I appreciate having the opportunity to speak with your group. Thank you very much.
Okay, Al, so I've mentioned some of your highlights already, and I know that's only a small part of your story. So can you tell the listeners a little bit more about you personally and what first attracted you to trading?
Well, I grew up poor, and my mother wanted to have a doctor in the family, so she picked me to be the doctor. And all the time that I was at the University of Chicago, becoming a doctor, becoming an eye surgeon, I wondered if I should be downtown at the Mercer, the Board of Trading, and I just didn't have the courage to make the switch. I knew staying as a physician was a sure way to make a lot of money, and I had no idea whether or not I could make money as a trader on the floor of the futures or options pits, and so I stuck with being a surgeon, and I worked extremely hard to save up a lot of money. And in 1988, I had a daughter, and 15 months later, I had identical twin daughters. So I had 3 daughters under the age of 15 months. And I thought, okay, I saved up a lot of money. I'm going to stay home and raise the girls. And while doing that, I will also trade more. I started trading in 87, the month before the crash. And back then, they did not have E-minis. They had full-size contracts. The day of the crash, I had a big surgery schedule. I had to be in the office, I forgot what time, at 8 o'clock or 8:30 or something like that. And on the day of the crash, I shorted 13 E-mini contracts. 13 S&P contracts, which today would be the equivalent of 5 times that. So, 65 contracts or something. And I had to close out before I went to work. The market started going, it went up actually on the morning of the 1987 crash initially. And I ended up closing out the position. I think I lost $5,000. And then as I was driving into work, on the radio, I could hear the reports that the stock market's going down. Nobody knows how far down it's going, but it's just going down. And the drop is far beyond what the computers are able to follow. And at the end of the day, had I held on to my 13 S&P contracts, I would have made $400,000 on the day.
Unbelievable.
Which is crazy. And that day I decided that, that there's pretty good upside to being a full-time trader. And a couple of years later, when my girls were born, I decided to go ahead, stay home, sell my medical practice, stay home, and become a full-time trader, which I did. And when you start out, everyone who starts out, unless you're at Goldman Sachs or at some major bank and they put you in some kind of training program, you have to kind of figure it out yourself. And back then, in the 80s, the internet, well, there was not much on the internet, but when you subscribed to magazines, the ads looked very attractive and appealing. I want to help you use my software, take my training course. And, I took courses, I had tutors, I bought all kinds of software that was guaranteed to make me rich. And I spent a lot of money on all kinds of help. And either the people were simply incompetent, which most of them were, or they were dishonest. I know at least 2 or 3 of the software companies were ultimately charged with fraud. So there was no really good source of information. I learned in medical school that, the best way to learn something is to just study it from someone who's doing it really well. And I assumed that all these books, I read everything, all these books, all these articles, all these websites, all these people were there to help me. And I was losing money, and I kept losing money, and I lost money for about 10 years. So I decided that, somebody's making money doing this because I'm losing it, somebody's making my money. So there is an ability to make money out there, but I simply did not have it. And using my doctor's approach to learning was a failure. Trying to copy what other people are doing, reading, studying, it's all garbage. And ultimately, I concluded that these people, some of them are honest but don't know how to do it. A lot of them are dishonest and they don't care that they don't know how to do it. So I decided to strip away everything. Back then, there was a big push. It was just assumed that if you're going to trade, you have to use all kinds of indicators, bands and oscillators and, Gann lines. Gann lines were actually popular back then. Nobody uses them anymore because, they're a fraud. So my computer screens, I had multiple monitors. I had, all kinds of indicators all over my screens. And, eventually I started to write my own indicators. And I started to realize that indicators are just another variation of a price chart. You're weighting different factors, but anything that you see on an indicator, you can see on a price chart. So I started to remove all of my indicators, and I left myself with simply a price chart. No average, no moving averages, no nothing on it. I've tried every kind of time frame, tick charts, volume charts, 1-minute charts, 60-minute charts, all kinds of other charts over the years. And I like rhythm. I like predictable rhythm, and time charts give me that. I know that the bar is going to close in 5 seconds, in 10 seconds, in 1 second. I like that, whereas you don't know that with volume charts or tick charts. Also, the trend lines on time charts are extremely reliable. A lot of computers use them. They clearly use them because they're very, very reliable. So I settled on using a time chart, and I've tried using smaller time frames like 1-minute charts and 2-minute charts. I was making too many mistakes. And then if you use higher time frames, 15-minute charts, 60-minute charts, it doesn't really make sense to sit in front of the computer all day and do that. I like sitting in front of the computer. I like watching every tick during the day. And ultimately, I settled on a 5-minute chart. And after years of using 5-minute charts, I can see an incredible amount of things going on a 5-minute chart. On a typical 5-minute chart, let's say for the E-mini, which is the popular stock index future contract that Americans trade, and the session opens 6:30 California time, 1 o'clock or 1:15 California time. So you got 81 5-minute bars in the day. In a typical day, we're looking at those 81 bars. I see, on an average day, I probably see 40 1-point scalps and 20 2-point scalps. And I probably see 60 or 70 setups on a typical 81 bar chart. I don't take all of them. On an average day, I might take 10, 20, or 30 trades, but I see an incredible number of setups. So on 81 bars, I see at least one setup on every 1 or 2 bars. So I don't need indicators. And I also don't need a 15-minute chart. I also don't need a Globex chart. I also don't need charts of anything else, because on that one chart, I'm seeing 40 or 50 trades a day out of 81 bars. So I don't need anything else. And that's what I do. Now I just sit down and I try to structure as many good trades as I can a day on my 81 bars. And on a good day, I don't lose anything. I might win 100% of the trades. There's an organization called the NFA, National Futures Organization, and so I have to be careful about what I say I personally do because I don't want to be audited by the NFA. Al, you said X. We want to look at all your trades for the past 2 years. Give us records of all your trades. I'm 64 years old, and I don't want to be audited by anybody. So let me speak in generalities. I know several traders, probably many traders, who win about 90% of the time as day traders. And they win just about every day, if not every day. I've never had a year in which I've won every day of the year. I always mess up some way at some point during the year. My goal in life, I don't know if I'll live long enough to achieve that goal, is to win every day of the year. But, invariably there's some day which has a couple fake out moves early and I lose. And then the day enters a very quiet trading range, or I'll have a doctor's appointment and I'll have to run in the middle of the day. Something will happen. So at the end of the day, I've lost money, but I never lose much money.
Cool. It's a really good story there, Al. Have you got more to it? Because I'm going to ask you some questions that dive a little deeper on some of those things throughout the show.
Go ahead. Why don't you ask me?
Okay. So, the first one I've got is you mentioned that Garnlines, is a fraud. What did you mean by that, and where does that sort of come from? Because that's the first time I've heard that. Okay, so that was the first part of the show. Now, to hear the full episode, the best bits, join the family at 52traders.com. They usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour long, and trust me, these shows are great. They give us so much insight. Now, if you want to get there quickly, all you need to do is jump into the show description on your phone, and there's a link taking you directly to 52traders.com, where you can join the family over there and listen to the full episode. Now, in the rest of the show, I cover off what my traders do differently from the rest of us. So what is it that they're doing that we're not doing? What their typical trading day looks like, what they would do if they had a day job now and wanted to trade for a living, their preferred trading strategy, so actually how does it work? What we should be educating ourselves on when we're looking at a price chart, so what indicators we should use, what price levels, what chart patterns, all those sorts of things. Also, we touch on fundamentals as well, so how do we use news to our advantage? Trading psychology, tips, tricks, techniques, we go through those. Exiting trades, managing trades that you've got running. So we talk about their strategies. They give you strategies for exiting and managing trades. Books to read, websites to visit, all the best ones. Something that you should try and master over the next month. The broker and platform they use. And finally, last but not least, they give us a full trading strategy. So something you guys can try out at home on your PC this week in the markets if you wish. Now, to get the full episode, you need to jump onto 52traders.com, join the family. As I said, it usually goes on for 45 minutes to an hour, and there's a link in the show description, so if you're on your phone, just jump on there, tap the link, and it'll take you straight to 52traders.com. Now, if you're thinking about learning to automate any of your trading, hiring a developer, learning to code, that sort of thing, then before you do that, jump onto my other website, automatemytrading.com. So if you're interested in automating some or all of your trading, then jump onto automatemytrading.com and you'll see me over there. For now, to hear the rest of this episode, all you need to do is click on the link in the show description or go to 52traders.com. See you there.